and welcome to my Audio Steps audience. This is the second installment of our 2021 Moving Forward by Faith interview series. And if you were able to catch my first one with Ms. Elayna Speight, you will find that it's all in the families because now I have with me my oldest daughter, Elayna Speight.
Hi,
Now,
everybody.
Elayna is the owner and graphic designer for Ink Designs, and she started her business at 23. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Elayna.
Oh, this is such a loaded question. Well, me myself, just turned 32. Uh, I like to eat. I like to bake. I like to draw. I'm a graphic designer and an artist.
So in 2010, you
Mm-hmm.
graduated magna cum laude from the Art Institute
Mm-hmm.
of Washington. So tell
Mm-hmm.
me, what were your thoughts on your graduation day?
Graduation day, it was finally. It was a sense of relief because um, I had to stay an extra semester because I had failed my project review. And so that was stressful in itself, that review. So when I finally made it to graduation, it was like, I'm done, finally.
Would you like to share with us like the surround what was going on at the time that you were working on, that final project and ultimately it appeared that it turned out in your favor, but at the time it didn't really feel that way.
Around the time of my first project review, my first final project review, um, well, was part of the curriculum is you have to make two marketing plans. You have to come up with a whole presentation, come up with all the graphic design, all the ads, everything has to do with this marketing plan. And so I think a week, well, right before my final presentation, my hard drive crashed. And so I lost all the work that was on that hard drive. So I had to struggle to get the project finished the day of my review. And it did not go well. My presentation was I had stressed, I was nervous, I didn't present the facts well, I failed it. So of course I called you distraught because it's like I'm supposed to be graduating
Mm-hmm.
this semester, but I failed my review. And so had to wait another 3 months for the next review in order to present again. And of course, it was way better this time because I had more time to gather all my information, gather all my facts, gather all my marketing plan, make it streamlined, make it so much better, and I passed easily. So yeah,
Okay, sounds good.
well,
All
easy
right.
is an understatement, but
Now looking back, of course. Okay, it's my understanding that you've always known that you would be an artist. So tell us what you did in the first 3 years after graduation, or the first few years.
let's see. I graduated in 2010. My first internship outside of school was Washington National Opera, and that was in September of 2010. I graduated. I was done in March. I turned 21 that April, and then my first internship with the opera was in September. Um, so I stayed there. There were talks with the Kennedy Center that to take over, in lack of a better term, Washington National Opera. So there were talks when I started that there probably would be no job security. Like my job would be no more come when the talks were finished. Um, so then I think in November of that year, my boss, his wife was having a baby. So I knew when I started that whenever she had the baby, he'd be going on paternity leave. So I'd be taking over for him. So, but then come January, he's like, you know what, there's talks that I might not keep my job. So and I have just had a baby, so I can't stay in here and wait for them to tell me whether I'm gonna have my job or not.
Mm-hmm.
So he leaves, and I take over for him permanently. I take his position. So when June comes, and the talks are finalized, you're not gonna have your job, but you're gonna have severance because you're not gonna go over to the Kennedy Center. And the requirement to get the severance was that you had to have been working for the opera for 5 months before you get your severance. And lo and behold, did the math from the time I started to the time the end date it'd be 5 months. It was like 6 or 7 months or something like that. So I got my severance. So I was finally able to get my own laptop, to get my own Adobe software. So all worked out. And so then after that, someone I knew at the opera, she had left to go to Shakespeare because again, the talks were that we might not have our jobs. So I connect with her. It's like, hey, how's it working over there? Is it good? So she's like, yeah, because I had read that I saw the listing to be an intern for Shakespeare, and I knew that she would already be over there. So I was like, how is it? Everybody cool over there? She's like, yeah, I'll put in a good word for you. So I applied. I didn't get it at first, and then I get another email like, you're in. So I'm like, cool. So I worked there. When did I get that job? I think I got that job, I think it was September of 2011. I got the internship at Shakespeare. I stayed there for the full program, so it was like 10 months. So then I left there, kind of cooled my heels for a couple of months, and then I get an email from my direct supervisor, because there was 2 graphic designers at the time. There was the junior graphic designer and the senior graphic designer. So the junior graphic designer at the time was leaving, and so she wanted me to kind of help in the interim before she left, to kind of like bridge the gap between when she left and when they hired someone else. And so I was there for about 2 months in the interim until they hired me full time. And I stayed another 2 years before I quit and did ink designs full time.
Okay. Boy, you did a lot. But
Yeah.
even in that small span of time, I mean, you accomplished so much, and things just seem to fall into place. I mean, who gets severance pay after 5 months? I still haven't gotten over that. But anyway, I understand though that there was a specific turning point possibly where you decided to actually start your own business. Was that something that you always knew that you were going to do, or what really transpired that kind of said, okay, it's time?
I can't say that I always knew I was going to start my own business. I just knew I was going to be an artist of some kind, whether it be graphic design or, well, I remember distinctly in middle school, we had a kind of a hippy dippy teacher, if you wanted to call it that. And so she had us kind of close our eyes and kind of imagine what we'd want to, what would we be in 10 years? And I imagined myself as an artist. And so I kind of always knew, as you said, I always knew that I wanted to be an artist. And so it kind of switched to graphic design because I loved magazines. I loved looking at the pretty pictures and like how the layout of the magazine was. So I was like, oh, okay, graphic design is it. But then I switched to advertising for for reasons.
So why the change to advertising? I'm curious.
Well, okay. So my mother, this person talking with me right now, went with me on my admissions interview at the Art Institute of Washington. She will tell you that she was convinced that advertisers make more money. So, of course, that's the path she wants me to take. But the advisor, who I'm convinced now, just wanted to add more people to the advertising program. Like graphic design was full up. And so they had like, for my year, there was like 10 of us. So like, of course you want to add more people to the advertising program instead of, since they had already filled their quota for graphic design. So the advisor had convinced her that advertising would be better for me because they make more money. Of course, me being 17 at the time, I'm like, oh, okay. But luckily I ended up with both curriculums. So I ended up with graphic design classes and advertising classes. So I ended up learning both. So it ended up working out. But yeah.
Well, in my own defense, it wasn't totally just about the money, but she spoke of the fact that you were able to get the business aspect of graphic design as well as the artistic. And I felt that that would be kind of a good thing, to have both sides of the coin, because I knew you were a good artist anyway. But I think there was a different aspect, which I believe actually helped you as you ventured further into your own business, that there was a need for the business as well. But again, we will probably always kind of wonder what was the real reason, but I think it all turned out for
And
good.
I didn't really get the business side of graphic design per se. It's more of like the strategy of advertising. So like why advertisers do certain things. So
Ah,
like
gotcha.
market research, focus studies. Like we learned how to focus your marketing to certain target audiences. So like if a brand is focused towards children or parents of little children, you would figure out ways of what to attract them versus just throwing stuff at them. So it's not really as in like you don't learn taxes or like how to set up a business, but more like the strategy of like why, what colors you would use, what how to do a logo, that type of thing. I didn't think I'd be working for myself. Um, but I knew after 2 years at Shakespeare, um, it kind of got monotonous because I kept doing the same thing, same projects. Every show needed the same things. Every event had the same materials every year after year. I was getting frustrated because I was doing everything, like for all the departments and the whole of the company. So I'm like, you know what? This is for the birds. So I'd rather be doing my own thing, working my own hours, staying with my pajamas all day if I wanted to. That sounded ideal to me. So
Okay, in reading your bio, which I hope that my listening audience will also have an opportunity to read about you in a little bit more detail, it appears that there was a specific mission behind ink design.
okay. So my intention with my art is to show positive images of Black women in a society that shows us otherwise. Like, let's be honest, we are not the same to beauty, um, but we are beautiful in our own skin, in all shades, in all body types, um, all hair textures. So I wanted to show that in my art to show us that we are beautiful.
Amazingly enough, Ink Designs will be celebrating its 10th anniversary this year, I believe. So, what does the future hold for Elayna Speight?
Oh, I don't know. That's an excellent question. I hope I continue on for however long the good Lord allows. Uh, I would like to do different types of projects. I love to do more commissions. One of my, I guess you could call it dreams, would be like illustrate for a magazine or something, or even a children's book would be great. Um, yeah.
Do you have any parting words regarding your journey thus far that you'd
Um,
like to share with our audience?
uh, I guess if you know what you're supposed to be doing, like Like, I know I'm supposed to be an artist. If you know that, then keep going until you become that. Or do, if you know this, it's your purpose to be whatever it is, don't quit. If you know in your heart of hearts that like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, then you should be doing it, whatever that means.
Do you have any advice to someone of any age that wants to start their own business?
My advice would be don't be discouraged, because if I remember correctly, once I started my own business, I expected like the jobs to come flooding in,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't. And it's like, oh no, like I've messed up. And those meetings, like, this is where she knew that she messed up. Like, I thought I'd messed up, but you just have to have faith and like know that I'm supposed to be doing it. There's no way I can go back to that job. So I'm just gonna have to figure this out.
All right. Well, I must say that I appreciate you taking the time um, to be with me on this interview series, which I hope will continue to encourage and inspire and motivate others. I think it's excellent advice to persevere no matter what you pursue in life, that you stick with it. There are going to be bumps in the road, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and you really are going to have to manage your expectation. It's not going to be the way you think it may turn out, but you want to stick with it, especially if you know that that is your purpose in life and that's what you've been called to do. So thanks again. I appreciate you taking the time. For my Audio Steps audience, I thank you for joining us. And I'd also like to say that remember, your steps are ordered. So keep moving forward by faith. Bye bye now.
Thanks for having me.